I hope this video serves as kind of like a refreshing break from all like the AI slop videos that have been posted in the last few weeks regarding the possible DJI Pocket 4 and the DJI Osmo Action 6. So I really wanted to make this video to share my thoughts about the possible DJI Pocket 4 and the possible Action 6 that may or may not be coming out or announced on October 24th. And you know, I'm one of those people who, like, when I get excited about a camera, like when they talked about like the potential specs on either the Pocket 4 or the Action 6, like I got excited because my thing is pocketable, very capable cameras that allow me to get like really high quality but in a compact, very portable size, because I like to take my cameras like when I'm out with the family or on vacation, but you don't really want to take like a big camera. Like I do have like a big full frame camera that I use when I do the occasional professional gig, or if I really want to be intentional with going to shoot. But if I went to dinner, going out to Aulani or going to Disneyland or whatever, I'm gonna take like one of these cameras that I have here. Like for example, I'm shooting on the Canon PowerShot V1 that I'm really enjoying, and then I'll get into some reasons why I prefer this to my Pocket 3 that I've had for a couple years. But I mean, aside from all the speculation on these cameras, there's one thing that some people have been mentioning recently about DJI as a company, in that a lot of their products not available here in the US. I'm in Hawaii, which is one of the states in the United States. But anyway, we're in the United States, and because of some government policies or distrust of DJI being a Chinese company, we're not able to get a lot of their newer products. And if you've noticed, there's a new company, I say that with air quotes, called Extra that popped up. I did a little research on the company itself. It seems to be based in Delaware. And when you look at their product lineup, they have I believe it's called like the Extra Muse, which other YouTubers have done teardown videos comparing the Pocket 3 and the Extra Muse, and they're basically identical. And then on top of that, they have they don't have it, like the Action 5 Pro equivalent would be like the Extra Edge, I believe. They have an Edge and an Edge Pro, which to me is like the Action 4 and the Action 5 from DJI. So, I mean, clearly DJI is trying to get around whether it's tariffs or other policies that prevent them from selling their products in America, by creating like a Delaware-based company to sell products. So it got me thinking that could the potential Pocket 4 and Action 6 actually be sold as like the Extra Muse Pro, or for the Pocket 3 or Pocket 4, and like instead of the Action 6 might be like the Extra Edge Pro 6 or Pro whatever. So I wouldn't doubt that we see like a new product or two pop up under the Extra name and not the DJI name. Now that's just me guessing and trying to read between the lines as far as like the timing of this company Extra that's popped up. But yeah, that's my little take on what we might see in the next couple weeks. Because even if, like, say the Pocket 3 and the Action 6 pop up like as legitimate DJI products, we may not be able to get them in the United States, and we might be waiting a long time. So I'm hoping that maybe Extra has their versions of it. And on a side note, one beef I have with DJI products is that when you take the devices out of the box or take the cameras out of the box, you have to like go into the app, you have to register the product and activate it before you can even get out and shoot. And some online that have purchased the extra Muse or the extra Edge products have noted that straight out of the box, they're actually usable, and you don't have to register the product or activate it or anything. So that's a kind of a big positive for me. Like when I bought this Canon PowerShot V1, I did my little setup with all the settings I like, and you can use it. You don't have to go to like a Canon app to register the product. You own it, you can open it up, and you can use it. And that's how consumer products should be. The next thing I wanted to talk about today was why I'm more excited about the DJI Action 6 versus the Osmo Pocket 4. If you've watched any of my previous videos, I talked about how the Pocket 3 that I originally had, I broke. The second one I actually broke, but I was able to fix it myself. My point is that it's a kind of a fragile product. It has moving parts, it has a gimbal head, it's very plastic. So if you drop this thing, especially on like concrete, it probably won't survive. So unless DJI did something to make the Pocket 4 a lot more robust than the Pocket 3, I might be hesitant to pick it up. So that's one thing. And furthermore, as I've been shooting with the PowerShot V1 and comparing it to my Pocket 3, I tend to pick up the PowerShot V1 a lot more frequently in the last couple weeks. Number one, I just like the image a lot better. I'm shooting in Canon Log 3 and I grade it to my liking. When I compare the two images side by side, I do like the Canon better, and I know that's preference. There's something about the colors that are a lot easier to work with, and I don't know if it's micro contrast or just there's a little more depth and character in the shot. And it could be because it has a larger sensor. The PowerShot V1 has a 1.4-inch sensor, whereas the Pocket 3 has a 1-inch sensor. So the 1.4-inch sensor is very similar to like a micro four thirds size sensor, which is pretty big for like a little pocket camera. And I just like the image. Everybody has their own tastes with what they like. You know, that's why you got Sony shooters, Canon shooters, Lumix shooters, but this is so far for me the best image I've got out of a pocket camera. And I apologize if I keep looking at the monitor because I'm talking about the image, so I kind of want to look at the image over there. And then the next thing about this style of camera, like a traditional point and shoot style camera, is that you can kind of just set it down on flat surfaces if you want to get like a shot like this. Like for right now, I don't have the PowerShot V1 on a tripod. It's just sitting on my dash and it sits nicely. I've tried this with the Pocket 3, and you do have to attach the extra base piece, put the tripod on it, and then put it down. So I've tried this with the Pocket 3, and because of its shape and height, I'm always hesitant to just set it down, even with the little tripod, because even a slight gust of wind could knock that thing over, and that kind of freaks me out. So I do like having more of like a brick-shaped camera when I'm out and I need to put the camera down and get a shot or something like that. And that brings me to the screen as well. You know, I'm 45 years old. The screen on the Pocket 3 is very small, and so I find that especially like when I'm shooting in low light, I have a hard time seeing what I'm doing. Whereas the PowerShot V1 or like most newer like point and shoot cameras have a decent like 3-inch screen like this where I can see all the settings and I can see the image pretty clearly, and it's a big difference. And the last thing I'll say about why I prefer this style of camera lately is that, say you want to get a low shot, you know, like I like to get low shots where I'm kind of walking away or walking toward the camera and kind of recording my feet. With the Pocket 3, you can set it down, but because the screen is kind of in the same orientation as the lens, whether it's facing this way or that way, you have to kind of like bend yourself down like this to frame your shot, because you can't tilt the screen out and away and up so you can look down at it. Whereas with a camera like this, with a fully articulating screen, you can set the camera down on a little tripod or on the ground, and you can turn the screen to face up. And then you can kind of look down, you can frame your shot, and you can, you can get it done. And so that's kind of why I've been enjoying shooting with a more traditional camera. Since we're talking about the DJI Action 6, I might as well mention that I'm also shooting on my DJI Action 5 Pro over here. I'm actually using it to record the audio to my DJI wireless mic here. I'm not using the audio from this camera, even though it's not bad, but I prefer the audio here going to that camera. With all that I was saying about the Pocket 3 and the PowerShot V1, I'm actually really excited about the Action 6 because they keep talking about a 1-inch sensor. And if you're unfamiliar with why sensor size is important or why it might matter, the Action 5 Pro has a 1/1.3 inch sensor, which is basically a 3/4 inch sensor, which I never understood why they name things the way they do. Because if you're gonna call it a 1-inch sensor, why not call this a 3/4 inch sensor, which is what it is. So you're getting a 25% increase in sensor size. There are some issues that I could foresee having a large sensor on an action camera. One is close focusing. Like if I were to take an object and put it right up against the Action 5 Pro's lens, it won't focus that close. I believe the focusing distance for the Action 5 Pro is about 40 centimeters, which is about right here. So this is kind of like the closest you'd want to be for this type of shot. And the reason is, when you use this for action sports, you kind of want everything to be in focus, and you don't want to worry about something that's happening in the moment and something being out of focus. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, if DJI puts a 1-inch sensor on their Action 6, it may need to have either a variable aperture or a slightly narrower aperture. The aperture is how wide the iris is to let light in. So I think the Action 5 Pro is a f1.7 or something like that. I don't exactly know what it is, but if the Action 6 Pro has a bigger sensor, it might have to have an f2 or f2.8 aperture, just so you can get more in focus, because you don't always want a shallow depth of field, especially with an action camera where the whole point is to see everything. So that's my take. I don't think it's going to be a super wide aperture if it's a 1-inch sensor. I do like the design of these action cameras. I much prefer to have the two screens, the small screen on the front and the large screen on the back, versus having the Pocket 3 having one screen where you can rotate the head of the gimbal to change, to be able to see what you're filming. So speaking to the design of action cameras, I enjoy shooting with them. The older I get, the more I appreciate having a little tiny nugget that can get 10-bit 422 4K footage. I don't really care if the Action 6 has 6K or 8K. I just want really good 4K and good low light, because we all know that action cameras, even the best action cameras, don't do that well in low light. The Insta360 Ace Pro, that line of cameras, seems to do pretty good, but it's a lot of processing. It does look very digital, and it's doing a lot of noise reduction to get that clean image at night. But I would love to see the I would love to see the Action 6, whether it's called the Action 6 or the Action 6 Pro or whatever. I keep tapping the front. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm tapping the front screen because I have it set to timeout. But I would love for the Action 6 Pro, or whatever it's called, to have a low megapixel count in that large sensor, because then it would, rather than having a lot of pixels, it would have fewer but larger pixels, which are much better for shooting video in low light. That's just my preference. I know a lot of people like really high resolution, like they want like that 8K, they want that 40 megapixel sensor, but for video, that's not always a good thing. Like some of the best video cameras out right now, like whether it's cinema camera or like the FX3, FX6 from Sony, they're like 12 megapixels, but they're just big pixels. And that's what I would love to see on the Action 6, is so you can get that good stabilized low light footage. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you appreciate the fact that it wasn't just an AI generated slop video putting out fake specs and fake images of the Pocket 4 or the Action 6. We'll just look forward to what we find out in the next couple of days about those cameras. So to sum it up, I'm more excited about the Action 6 than the Pocket 4, because I think this PowerShot V1 is now my my EDC camera, my everyday carry, take everywhere dad cam. I like the image, I like the form factor, I just like the way that you can manually control your settings a little better. And it's actually better in low light. Like I've tested this in low light. The image holds up a lot better than the Pocket 3. Not to mention that, like, this just sounds kind of dumb, but everywhere I go now, somebody has a Pocket 3, so it's everywhere. And there's something about when everybody is using like that camera, like I don't want to use it anymore. Maybe that's the contrarian in me, but that's kind of a silly reason. But seeing everyone using it is making me not want to use it anymore. I am excited about that Action 6 though. I mean, like a little action camera that's good in low light. That sounds great to me. Be a nice pairing to go on trips with, having this PowerShot V1 and the new Action 6. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Man, I am tired of seeing all these AI slop videos on YouTube. I'm sick of it already. I hate AI.